So I got done watching Hawkeye, and I definitely have some thoughts on the MCU Disney Plus show. Spoilers lie ahead, and with that all out of the way.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
So this show kind of surprised me, I'm not gonna lie. I thought based off of the trailers, the show looked to be a bit bland, but for the most part, every episode had me invested into the story in some way. Also, I liked a lot of the characters in the show, and they did a very good job with Clint Barton, especially. They really showed how he's been struggling post Endgame, and Clint feels like he is not a hero, and it was interesting the way he was handling that about himself in the show. They also dived into the Ronin stuff, and the show wrapped that story up in a satisfying way, in my opinion. I have to say, the stuff with Clint was the best part of the show. Now, what the stuff I had a problem with was the stuff with Kate. Kate Bishop just felt like a generic MCU character, which is a bit of a shame. Like, she checks off all the MCU stereotypes, if that makes sense, like the generic MCU characters always do. I really wish they didn't waste Haley Steinfeld in this role, because I felt like she would have been a perfect casting for Gwen Stacy, which I find to be more of an interesting character, but it is what it is, I guess. Also, all the stuff that was going on with her story, I was not really interested in, and it was very obvious that her mom was going to be bad from the start, and it wasn't much of a shocker. There were some other characters that made the surprise appearances as well, like Elena, which is always cool seeing her back. I felt it was a bit strange that she just believed Clint killed Natasha after Valentina told her at the end of the Black Widow movie in the post-credit scene, and Elena just believed it, but whatever, I guess. And it had her have an arc in the Hawkeye show. Also, the way her storyline wrapped up in the show kind of felt rushed, but the whole final episode felt rushed, let's be honest. More on that later. Another surprise appearance was Kingpin, which was pretty cool, and it's played by Vincent D'Onofrio, which is awesome. I just hope the Daredevil show is canon, because the storytelling on that show is on a whole other level. It's one of the best TV shows ever as well, so I really hope that show's canon. And I would like to see some of the storylines from that show continue in some way, either in other movies or in the Spider-Man movie or other shows. And I just want to see I just want to see some of those storylines continue in some way, shape, or form. D'Onofrio also said he was told to play the character like he did from the show, so maybe it is canon. Only time will tell. So Kingpin in the show was pretty good, and he was a bit of a badass when he was throwing Kate around like a ragdoll. That was pretty funny. My only problem with Kingpin in the show was he looked a bit goofy, and in the show Daredevil, he's usually very smart on the way he handles his business, but in Hawkeye, he was just pretty dumb by going after Kate's mother in public like that. I don't know. It's a little bit of a nitpick that I have, but it seemed a little bit out of character from the Netflix TV series of Kingpin. Also, it seems his storyline will continue on the show Echo. And speaking of Echo, she was okay in the show. Nothing great, but nothing bad either. So for the most part, I enjoyed this show, but I was a bit bored a few times, and the finale was so rushed and disappointing. Everything just ended, and it left a lot to be desired. And I'm guessing there won't be a season 2. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be a satisfying ending, because it had a lot of storylines going on all at once, and it had to wrap everything up in the finale, and I guess they had to just push everything together and just wrap it up all at once. I feel like Hawkeye should have had a few more episodes to give it a more satisfying ending, because the finale left a really bad taste in my mouth. This probably would have been a better show if it had a better finale. Also, the finale was very goofy as well, and had a lot of crappy forced MCU humor that I'm so tired of. I'm so tired of that crappy forced MCU humor, and for the most part, the show didn't have that. And in the last episode, they went full blown. Let's make it goofy, and let's make everything not so serious. And I just did not like that ending. And then Kate's not stepfather, her boyfriend, her mom's boyfriend, he became the swordsman like in the comics, and I felt like the whole way he became that character was very goofy as well, and it was just very corny crap. So for the most part, this was a solid show, and I enjoyed most of what the show had to offer. I am giving this show a 75%. I do hope we see Clint Barton in the future of the MCU, but I guess it's up to Jeremy Renner if we see the character again. I could see him showing up in Secret Invasion, which would be pretty cool.